mean, that baby, that 3-day-old baby in his mother's arms is God. That child running around in the yard is God. That teenager is God. That 30-year-old man dying on the cross is God. How do we understand what's going on in his head? We can't understand that. I would say his human mind grew and understood as much as was capable. So as a baby, I don't think he was staring up his mom saying, I'm God manifested in the flesh. He was a baby. Of course, the Spirit of God was all-knowing. But even as a 12-year-old, he did have an awareness of his identity. So you can see, and that Luke says he did grow. Wisdom, stature, favor with God and man. He grew intellectually, socially, spiritually, physically. And only in those terms can we describe the incarnation. But again, I go to 1 Timothy 3:16. Great is the mystery of godliness. It's a mystery. Not how many gods there are. There's only one. That's not a mystery. How many persons? That's not a mystery. God is not a plurality of persons. The Bible never even says that. But what is the mystery? How that God could be manifest in the flesh. And that same verse goes on to say, seen of angels. What do you mean, seen of angels? Now, angels are spirit beings, so I don't know how they relate to God in heaven. I don't think they need light waves and retinas to see God. So I think see is metaphorical, however they relate to God. But there is something curious. Why would it say Jesus incarnate, he was seen of angels? Well, the implication is something happened that never happened before. So I think the angels are saying, well, yeah, I know God, but wow, God is a human.
Yeah.
That's shocking. I actually seen physically of angels. And let me just close with this thought. Isn't it amazing? The infinite God of the universe loved us so much that in order to redeem us, he became one of us. Now, he never stopped being who he was, but somehow he became something he'd never been before. And he did it for us. And he's permanently identified himself with humans. Because in heaven, we're going to see Jesus Christ, God manifest in the flesh, as the one sitting on the throne. God and the Lamb as one personal being, one face, one supreme name on one throne in Revelation 22, 3-4. Isn't that incredible? So God created the angels. Maybe he's created other universes. Maybe he's created other worlds. Maybe there are millions of other races over the millennia that he's created. Who knows? But yet God is eternally identified in human identity. We're going to see him in the face of Jesus Christ. To me, that's a profound statement of the love of God. So the fact that Jesus is both God and human at the same time, that is the miracle of the incarnation, which was for the miracle of atonement. And what it teaches us is the grace of God and the love of God for us.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Apostolic Life in the 21st Century. If you enjoy this podcast, please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. We also appreciate it when you share Apostolic Life in the 21st Century with a friend or family member. Finally, join us again next time as we look at how the Bible applies to everyday life.